No price talk and no Lambos. This is not another crypto podcast. Welcome to Ignition. I'm your host, Jillian, and each week we will be looking at the problems solved by blockchain. I'll be going deep with the people building the apps and communities which are changing the world around us. Hello, and welcome to the EOS Dublin podcast with me, Jillian Gotzel. Today, I have an interviewee all the way from India, from Bangladesh. I'm very happy to welcome Joyjit Blowmick from Nobar to the podcast. Welcome, Joyjit.
Thank you, Jillian, for having me. It's very nice to be here.
Perfect. Now, this we're going to have a really interesting conversation because you actually met with Sam in India a little while ago. But it's so you're actually working very closely with the EOS guys here in Dublin, and it's amazing. I love the way that blockchain and EOS, it's such a community. It's amazing to think that you're there in India and now you're chatting all the time with Sam, who's based in Germany, I think, but he's working with Sharif in Dublin. So and he's English. So it's a crazy, mad world, and we're all connected.
Yeah, definitely. And it's very nice to work with some of the top guys in the EOS world who is, I think EOS Dublin has spotted the number 19 in the top 21 block producers. And
this week?
It's a very... this week, I think.
Wow. I didn't even realize. Oh my God, that's fantastic news. Woo. That's brilliant.
And it's very honored to actually work very close with one of the CTO of one of the top 21 block producers. And Mr. Sam has been an incredible help to us and to redesign the business model and also building the platform on EOS technology.
That is amazing. Well, I knew you were working closely with Sam, but that is fantastic. Okay, let's go back a bit. You're based in India. Tell me, Joyjit, a little bit about you and your career to date before blockchain.
Okay, so after my graduation, actually, we started working in my family business, which is actually an international trading, import and export. And as you can know, I'm based in Bangladesh, and it's one of the most largest ready-made garments exporter in the world. So that's actually our business is also. So I started my career following my family business, getting into the business ideas and everything. And when I get into that business, I thought of that we had many many traditional banking processes that we had to follow to do those kind of transactions. Like we had to open a letter of credit that has to be transferred to the supplier's bank, and they check it. If everything's all right, then they make the goods, produce it, and ship the goods to us, and then they submit the documents in their bank. And it's a lot of hassle for those guys and us also. So all the transactions and the paper submitting and everything takes a lot of time for them and for us also. So I thought to myself that it can be fast forwarded if we can avail any kind of latest technology or avail any kind of technology that can be a little more fast. So then I come to our blockchain in 2006 at the later stage of 2016, when everybody was talking about Bitcoin, how good it was, because there was only only a handful of cryptocurrencies, not a lot of rush of the ICOs. So that's when I came to know about blockchain, and
Yes, it's interesting. You pointed out about your family business and the international letters of credit. I've worked with a company in that area. It's the biggest con job that the banks do. They basically, it's the most expensive courier system in the world. And they take no risk whatsoever. And all the risk and the hard work is done by the actual people buying and selling goods. So I can see why you're very frustrated. That's one crazy industry that's not even automated half the time. It's paper-based, which makes no sense in this day and age. So yes, you saw the blockchain as an opportunity to change up the world, I guess, especially you had that first-hand experience from working with international trading. And so when you first met blockchain, was it just the coins that you met, or was it any particular chains that you met?
So basically, our CTO, Mr. Ariful Haq, he told me about blockchain, that this is doing that a decentralized way, that all the verification of the transaction are done on blockchain, and there is no central body to it. I thought to myself that, is this even possible? Can we actually do this?
Yes.
So, it was in back 2016 at the later stages. So we and myself and him got to a little discussion that if we can do something about it. And the first thought that was in the back of my head was that, can we actually implement that in the international trading scene, or even in the e-commerce scenario also, which is also taking a lot of stress out of here? Because if we look at the e-commerce scenario, that's also doing almost the same process if it's on the mass production or the mass transactions sequence. So I thought to myself, if I can do all those banking and transactional verification on the blockchain, then it should not be paper-based. It should not take that long, and it should be very, very cheap. So
Yes.
that's where our journey actually started.
Wow. So with Nobar, tell me, I mean, Nobar is a massively scoped project, isn't it?
Yes, actually. We actually designed the project such that all the features that we are implementing on the blockchain should be substantial for any kind of e-commerce transactions. Like we have three important features in our smart contract. That one point is escrow, which is the banks are very, very good, very, very good at, and people trust them blindly, but still they have a lot of flaws and they take a lot of time to do that. And also it's a lot of cost for both the buyers and suppliers. But if you do that on the blockchain, it's completely free. So why shouldn't we do that? So there's one escrow service where the buyers and sellers' money will be kept safe. And when the transaction is completed and the buyer approves the product, the escrow account will disburse that amount onto the supplier's account. So it should be very, very transparent and very, very fast as it's on the blockchain, and do not need any human middleman.
Yeah, and couriers and bits of paper and nonsense. And if there's an error, you have to change it all over again. It costs more money. That is fantastic. So tell me that there's three features. So your smart contract has got an escrow facility. What are the other two features that you offer in Nobar?
The second important feature would be that is immutable documents. That supplier and the buyer both can upload documents digitally signed by their private and public key, so that we can access that. Even the buyer and the seller both can access that document and see that, yes, this document is from that side, originally signed by them, and it can only be gone through the Nobar IO. It's like how we get through any kind of transactions on Ethereum. Like we go to etherscan.io and see that, yeah, this transaction is recorded here, so that must be true. So it's almost the same for the Nobar platform also. So it comes from the fact that in the international trading scene, or even in the local trading scene, that people have to send through DHL or FedEx that this is my commercial invoice, this is my bill of lading, etc. I am sending it to you by signing and sealing it. And it takes 2 or 3 days, which is a lot of delay. And sometimes in international scenes, the container is on my port, but the documents haven't reached my bank yet. So I have to conduct port demurrages for that. So it actually helps a lot of them to do that. And also, it actually has no cost because we're doing it on the blockchain.
That is amazing. And so tell me the different areas that the Nobar is looking at. I mean, it's sales of anything, isn't it? Recruitment, I mean, advertising. Tell me some of the sectors you think where it could be used.
So basically what we've done is what these features can do is ease of all the activities on the e-commerce sector that we currently see here. So we're trying to unify all the non-traditional, non-crypto activities that are happening in the e-commerce stage. We're trying to bring them all into one platform where we can bind this all on smart contract with those features. Like we can do local and global businesses, as we've just said. We can also sell used items, which we all see on eBay happening nowadays. And there are a lot of cases of fraud that he was supposed to give me this, but he hasn't given me this. He has given me an empty box. There are a lot of cases like this. So blockchain and our Nobar platform can really help us to diminish that, so that there would be multi-signature payment. Even the logistics support who is delivering the product itself can actually put his signature on the smart contract and ensure that the delivery has been made and the buyer has approved the product, that this is right, so that the supplier and the buyer for both sides can be satisfied. And also we can do with this recruitment, where it's a recruitment compared to this activities is pretty much easier, because if we list our activities or list there is any kind of jobs available, or if there is any kind of employees that want to get on board with an employer, they can list with us. And also if the employer wants to, then he can opt to pay through our smart contract every month. It's like actually recurring transaction that every month his employee is going to get this amount of EOS token or this amount of Bitcoin or anything, or NBR token at the 5th date of every month. So it should be very easy for them, not go through the traditional banking, because only that option takes a lot of charge every year for that employer.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, I was at a conference in Dublin, a blockchain in finance. And interestingly, I mean, it was a very, very bankery conference, I have to say. But one of the talkers was from KPMG, and he brought in, it was in fund of funds. But interestingly, now this is banks bringing in blockchain, I know, but they were reducing their costs by like 60% by putting it on the blockchain. And that's a huge reduction in cost. And that's the banks doing it. So, fintech firms can do it even more so. So tell me, when did you first discover EOS? When did you first find out about them?
Yeah, so that is actually very exciting for us, because when we started our journey, announced our project on March 27, 2018, our platform was actually on Ethereum. But we knew that Ethereum should not be the perfect module for this. But at that time, EOS had not officially launched yet. The testnet was on, the mainnet was opened in June 15, I think. Mm-hmm. So we had to wait, because theoretically we knew that EOS would be far, far better than Ethereum for our product to work on. But we had to wait and watch if EOS was doing what it said on papers. So we had to wait, and we developed a product. Almost the smart contract was almost completed in Ethereum. But when it was launched, when EOS was launched in June 15, we saw that it had a phenomenal effect. And I think that today is over 4,000 transactions per second with no unconfirmed transactions yet, which Ethereum has a lot of issues then. Because if we build our platform on Ethereum and there's an unconfirmed transaction issue, so there would be a huge loss between the buyer and the seller. So that's not that's not actually satisfactory. And also, if we work on Ethereum, then sometimes if the network is jammed, it takes 30 or 40 minutes to confirm any kind of transaction. And it's in EOS, it's almost instant.
Mm-hmm. So that's the main. So the speed and the reliability are two real keen points for you for choosing the EOS network.
Yeah, scalability and flexibility should be a big factor for us. And also, one of the big points for our developers was that we can edit the smart contract itself even after we deploy it multiple times. Because if we look at all the technological marvels or the technological giants, they're always updating their code base. We can actually deploy a perfect code, but even after that, we can discover many faults, or our customers can give feedbacks that these are these bugs, there are these bugs. So we have to go to a continuous improvement process to actually improve our project day by day. So EOS has that facility that we can actually edit the smart contract itself.
That's clever. And that makes sense, because you hear a lot, because people say, smart contracts, are they smart or are they dumb? There's a lot of conversation about that. And of course, if you have an error in the coding, it's not so cool. So to be able to go back in, even when it's live, to go back in and change the coding, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense, actually.
Yeah, actually, no code is actually perfect when you first time deploy it. That's actually from the experience of maybe the top guns in the technological industry. So this is a very good thing that EOS has done for the developers.
Yes, very powerful. So tell me now, as a businessman, right? So you were born into a trading family, so that's interesting. As a businessman, now you're based in India, but you have, because India is not terribly friendly towards cryptocurrencies and blockchain, all the rest of it. How are you managing that?
So to correct that, actually, all the development team is based in Bangladesh.
Okay.
But the scenario is more of the same. India is a bit more friendly to a cryptocurrency, but there's a case going on with the Reserve Bank of India and all the cryptocurrency exchanges in India also. But the scenario in Bangladesh is a bit more hostile, that if any kind of blockchain or cryptocurrency activities is a punishable offense here. So that's a great situation here. So to counter that, we had to avail for the e-residency program in Estonia, which is one of the pioneers for cryptocurrency regulations, and it's very clear there. So we actually opted for there and registered a company there. So the development company, everything is here, but all of the company activities is going through the Estonia.
And was that hard to set up?
No, that was actually pretty simple. It actually took us 3 months to do that, but it's a process that we have to go through, and it's not very hard to do.
Okay, that's good. It's good to know for people who are, like, even here in Ireland, we're not quite sure what's happening yet. And there's quite a few countries across Europe where, unlike Switzerland, which has made a very positive advancement, if you are a startup, if you are a project, it's hard to know which way to jump, because you don't want to fall foul of your country's laws. So it's good to know that your experience with Estonia was very good. So tell me also, now, as an entrepreneur with this major project, and it's come from your own company background too, which is very interesting. What's the best advice you would give someone else setting up their own project?
The best advice that I can give is we have the main thing that we can look into on blockchain phase is the price frenzy, I think that has become very stable. There is not a lot of talk that the Bitcoin will go to 20,000, 25,000 and everything. Not a lot of retail investors or anything that is looking into the price scenario. So as the price scenario has become stable, we should look at how the technology is going to make our lives better. So we have to solve a real life problem with blockchain, and then actually we can conduct any kind of startups.
Okay. What's the hardest thing in your journey so far? Most difficult?
So the hardest thing would be to understand the blockchain itself, because the country that we live in currently, there are not a lot of people that want to analyze this. There's only a little help around us. And if we want to avail people into our team from our country, it's a very, very negative situation for them. So to build the team was the most hardest part for me, but I have to say that it was almost the most exciting journey for us, because the people we have in our team now are very excited about it, working dedicatedly for it, and each one of us is learning from one another of us. So it's very, very good.
That's exciting. That is exciting. So tell me a little bit about the roadmap. So what are your next milestones coming up?
So the roadmap would be, after we finalize our project, we're still at the last stages of restructuring a project from Ethereum to EOS. And I think within October 15, we'll be completed with that. And after that, we'd be looking for private equity to actually kickstart our project, because at the moment, the way we're developing it, I think it's going good, but we should be fast forwarding it. I think 4 or 5 times with more hiring or more people working in the company. But to do that, we need private equity fund for the seed money stages.
Okay, so October 15th, you should have your reorganization sorted, and then you go to market for the private equity. I wish you every success. So tell me, Joy, just to finish off then, how will people find you and find out about your project? Where are you online?
Yeah, it's our website address is nobar.io. Everyone can go to that and see our project and maybe leave some feedback if they feel anything.
Excellent.
And in the team page, all of our team members are there. If anyone wants to talk to any one of us, they're very welcome.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time, Joyjit, and I wish you every success. Looking forward to hearing more on the 15th. It's only a week away, 15th. Excellent.
Thank you very much, Jillian. It was very nice talking to you.
Thank you.